All right, well, we start and then people can join in, just so we're not take too long.
Okay. You want to take the lead, Carmen?
Yeah, I'm just going to go over just some quick reminders. We did our first Zoom meeting last month, and the recording came out a little bit fuzzy, and I think it was because of all of the video cameras and microphones. So I'm just going to, you'll notice that my video camera is off as well. I just want to give it a try for us to not have our video cameras and microphones on to see if the actual recording's a little bit better this time around. So, I mean, if you are speaking, then by all means, turn on your camera and your microphone. But for just the meeting slides, I just want to see if it makes a difference. We have got a chat box, so if you have questions along the way when Duncan and I are talking, just type them in, and hopefully one of us will catch it and we'll be able to answer the questions as we go. But we've left time at the end for question and answers, so feel free to save your questions until the end as well. And then, yeah, if you want to actually speak, just type in the box that you want to say something, and then we'll call on you, and then you can unmute yourself and start talking from there. Okay, Duncan, you want to go over the meeting agenda?
Yeah, okay. So we'll go through news and updates. So that's from in Canada, Ubuntu USA, and whatever Michael's been up to and his goals for 2017. We'll also talk about the One Small Town initiatives in Brazil, USA, and Canada. Then we're going to look at Ubuntu and you and how you can participate either as a supporter, volunteer, or as a director or manager, and we'll fill you in a little bit more about that as the presentation progresses, and then we'll have some time for questions and talk about the next meeting and got some links at the end for contact information and so on.
Okay, so I guess we'll just do a quick review of what we talked about at our last meeting. So we had gone over kind of what our objectives were initially. So we had chosen kind of three main objectives, which is to increase Ubuntu awareness and education in Canada, to add more members, volunteers, and organizers to UBUNTU Canada, and then to work on implementing the One Small Town initiatives. So those are still the same. We briefly went over the Ubuntu core management team requirements, and as Duncan mentioned, we're going to be talking more about a little bit of a restructuring that we're going to do with the team a little bit later on. And then we also went through national communications. So we talked about how we wanted to have a system that effectively streamlined new members for Ubuntu Canada, Ubuntu as a global unit. We talked about having one website, one message, one main entry point, which we will talk about. It's exciting. That's going to be happening soon. That we need some effective marketing material, which also Duncan and I have found on the USA Ubuntu page that they've got a lot of goodies for all of you. So I think everyone will be excited about that. And then clear levels of participation. So we've gotten lots of emails and really great questions about, you know, people who are interested, who want to support Ubuntu, who want to volunteer, who want to be managers. And up until now, we really haven't been able to give you guys like clear place to go, but we do have something for now, temporarily, and then eventually permanently. So that's exciting. And then we talked about having strong IT, marketing minds, and educators to participate in the project. And so we have a couple people who are interested in volunteering sitting in on the meeting today. So that's exciting. So we have some more people. So pretty happy about that. And now, Duncan, do you want to talk about the website, or because
Sure.
You talked to Jeremy just recently?
Yeah. Yeah. So there is a from our meeting last month, the main subject that we're all looking at is we just need to funnel every interest, anybody that's interested in volunteering or supporting or being part of the management team. So they all had a place to go, and then from there a path to embark on. And really that didn't exist. So there was a lot of different places you could enter into Ubuntu, and we said we need to coalesce that. And luckily after that call, we spoke with Michael, and he gave us the name of Jeremy Colt, who is the website or webmaster in the USA. And he's actually working on an international website, and he's making fantastic progress. And speaking with him this afternoon, we're probably about 2 weeks away, but it doesn't have everything in it. But what it will have is there'll be the international website that'll talk about, you know, the Ubuntu philosophy and have some images and some wise words from Mr. Tellinger and so on. And then there'll be links to all the other countries' websites, and we're included in that. So they're just going to have the basics up and running within about 2 weeks, so enough so we can start populating our stuff, and they'll finish off the foundation of the website as time goes on, but at least it will be usable. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks. So definitely one website, one message, one main entry point, and then you can click on Canada's website, and you can go from there, and we'll be able to populate that with our own information regarding events and you know, additions to our team or whatever the case may be, local stories, things like that. And we can set this up so this website will actually search for news feeds that are focused on Canadian issues. Just that it'll pull it into our website. So Jeremy has just done a fantastic job. I think those are some of the things that are taking longer. So I don't think those are going to be the ones that are functioning right off the bat. But talk about exciting. I mean, that just to have someone with that kind of knowledge to throw this together is awesome. And say local updates will be country specific, and Jeremy's finalizing the designs and layouts. So we're still working on some of the Canadian content, but we're very close. And we're working on a temporary one for the interim. That Carmen, you want to let them know about that, or is that the next slide? I can't remember now.
Yeah, I did put together kind of a temp website to provide people who are interested in learning how to participate. I have it a little bit later on, I think, when we're talking about you and Ubuntu supporting it. But yeah, so we do have something to give you today, which at least I think will help in the interim.
Okay.
So next is our books, fun and exciting.
Yes. Books for sale. So that's the Ubuntu Contributionism book. Hopefully all of you have read that, or at least know of its existence, because it really spells out the whole philosophy and transition plans and all that interesting stuff. And Michael goes into great detail, and there's a lot of fascinating reading in there that really pulls this whole mindset together. So there are books for sale. We don't have any in Canada right now, so that's a bit of a challenge, but we can work through that. They have I think about 3,000 books in the US. So for now, we need to help the US deplete that inventory. So we're going to keep the price, just because of the exchange rates always fluctuating, we're going to keep the price at $25 US. And if you want to buy a book, it's best to contact the USA coordinator, Rebecca Gretz, at that email there, and she will send you your book out. What we're looking for is anyone that might have any contacts to a Canadian publisher, because we have other options. Initially, when we were talking about it, Michael just said, well, send 500 books up here. The issue is the freight. So if we can find a Canadian publisher and we can get the book published up here, I think everybody will benefit from that. So, and also if anybody have any ideas of book distributors or want to take that on their own, we can certainly discuss that. But for now, if you want to purchase books, please contact Rebecca Gress directly, and she can get the books sent out to you. They are less expensive than going on Amazon and things like that. So that's the preferred method there. And again, this provides revenue for Michael Tellinger, the Canadian office, and anybody that wants to turn around and sell the book. So.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about media. So, so we have the Ubuntu kind of tribute, which is a little newsletter that Michael Tillinger has looked over, and he's pretty excited about the concept of having all that information in one area. So we're going to continue that. And Jeremy has let me know that he's able to put like a subscribe button on the new website so that people can type in their email addresses, and then we can just send it to people on a monthly basis. So that'll be one way that people can kind of support and get more involved. However, you know, I've sent some emails. It might not be for everyone, but if you are interested in writing an article, it's just going to be once a month, and it can be anything that interests you. You don't have to be a fantastic writer. It can help with editing, and I know that Marilyn is a writer by trade, so she might be willing to look at people's content as well. So don't be shy. If it's something that interests you, if you have something to say, something you want to share with the world about Ubuntu, then please contact me and let me know. So a Facebook page. So Shabnam has started a Facebook page for us. I am going to ask that it is, if we can change the name. We've been speaking to the USA team a lot in the last few weeks, and we really want all of the countries to be globally united, and we want it to be very clear like which sites belong with the global initiative. So by making everything, there's this Ubuntu Planet USA, so we'd like all our stuff to say Ubuntu Planet Canada as a way to distance ourselves from all of the, what seems like 10 or 20 different websites from different people that have Ubuntu themes. So we can talk about that a little bit later. And I think Duncan wanted to mention something about the Facebook page.
Yeah, on, you know, we have a closed Facebook page. That's really all we have right now for the people that originally signed up on the management team. And a post went up yesterday by someone which did not really, just got bad feelings when I saw that. And it was something about, you know, one of Michael's, it was just a twist on one of Michael's famous phrases, that if it's not good for all, it's not good for anyone. And this particular person put up a post about that regarding income tax. And there were some other insinuations in there which were singling out certain groups of people, and it just was not appropriate at all. Anything we post on there should be positive. You know, we all understand that our system is broken and we need to fix it, but we do not want to get in conflict with anyone, nor do we want to suggest that you should circumvent the laws that exist in our land, because Canada still is one heck of a country. It's got a lot of problems, but a lot of things also work very well. So we do not want to promote any kind of illegal activity, because that's basically what that was. So we certainly don't want to see anything more like that. And it just goes to the fact that one of the positions we're looking for, I don't know, Carmen, does this run into that? I can't remember what your next. We definitely need someone to, from a social media point of view, to be able to have a look and make sure that everything that goes on the website is suitable for the website. So.
Yeah, there's my little post.
That's what I thought. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got kind of a list of different positions that we would like to implement, and we're going to base it a lot off of the USA team, because they're doing really well with this type of system. So that's something that we're looking for, someone who is willing to take the reins and kind of take control of our social media would be awesome. And then, there's a new media idea. Donnie McLeod, he had put in a proposal in our Dropbox about podcasts, which is a really cool idea. I mean, if you guys haven't been in there and you haven't read through his proposal, I would recommend that you do. Duncan and I are going to invite Donnie to talk about his idea at our next meeting, and then I'm hoping to contact him, and I want to talk to him a little bit more about it, because it's a cool idea. And I mean, I don't know a ton about podcasts, but he seems to have all the equipment and all of the know-how. So thank you so much for presenting that to everyone and your willingness to do all of that, because it sounds like a lot of work. So thanks, Donnie. And then just a reminder, if you haven't been to the Dropbox in a while, there is a new section. Hey, that's me. Yes, it is you. And there's a new section. So anyone who has a proposal that they want to suggest to the group that they think would be help us with our mission of Ubuntu contributionism in Canada, please fill it out, and then we'll give you some time to present at one of the meetings, just to let everyone know what you're doing. And then, okay, so 2017 goals. So last weekend, I had a phone conversation with Michael Tillinger, and he kind of just went through what his main kind of 2017 goals were for this year, what he wanted to achieve, what he wanted to work towards. So I just want to share that with you guys. First and foremost is the one small town. Next, he wants to talk about one small school. So this is something that's they're starting to implement in Brazil, which is really exciting. Also something that we can start thinking about here in Canada. He's really interested in doing a music and arts festival. So he has a vision of kind of getting local artists and supporting them and putting together this really great, fun, festive event where we can share kind of our love for all things art and also spread Ubuntu at the same time. And this will kind of lead into one of the positions that we're opening up, which is a music and arts ambassador. So somebody who's willing to kind of look at that specific project and start making some headway there. So that's exciting. A science and technology conference. So in order to, you know, see the one small town, I think, flourish the way we envision it, it would be great to get some scientists and inventors and people on board who can share their ideas for free energy or their ideas for anything inventive, really. It's very exciting. So we'll have an ambassador position for that as well, if that's kind of your interest, if you're interested in science. He wants to look at political activity in different countries. So, I mean, if there's somebody who is interested in politics or, you know, wants to look at starting some type of platform here in Canada, that's something we can look at doing as well. And a youth movement, which I thought was amazing, really great idea, is, you know, the young people will be the ones after us who are gonna take it and run with it. So I think it's good that we start getting them involved as soon as possible by doing really anything. I mean, the sky's the limit. I have some ideas, but I'm sure all of you have awesome ideas as well. So, those are kind of the main things that Michael is hopeful for. And I mean, I think they're awesome. And I'm just kind of reading through the people's texts and chat messages, and it looks like everyone seems excited by it too. So that's awesome. And then, oh, and this is just some cool stuff that USA is doing, because Duncan and I were on their call last week. And if any of you are interested in listening in on the USA meeting, send us an email and we can connect you to the dates that they're doing their meetings, because it's pretty cool to listen to them. So they've got some USA collaborations. They are collaborating with a group called the Conscious Media Coalition. Also the Awakening Sovereignty Collaboration Network, the Collective Evolution, which I know of. The other two I don't know of, but I do know of Collective Evolution. Veterans Today, and BBS Radio. So I'm not entirely sure how they're collaborating with them, but I think it's more of a joint effort to share each other's positive message. They're also doing an Ubuntu Planet Conscious Marketplace, which sounds super interesting. I think it's similar to Etsy, but it's a place where kind of conscious sellers meet conscious buyers, and it's just going to be a pretty cool experience. And then they also have an Ubuntu B&B website. Duncan, are you familiar with what they're doing with the B&B?
They're still in the throes of putting that together. Okay. I think we briefly touched on that last week, or sorry, our first meeting, did we not? And someone was mentioning that they're kind of clamping down on the B&B side of on the Airbnb side of things, because there's a lot of not savory things happening. So they're trying to regulate it very, very heavily. But hey, any initiative right now, until they do that, more power to them, because I think, it'll just spread the awareness. So hopefully that'll get underway. And I think that's more for people that are, related to Ubuntu, that want to, put their house out there as a possible staying place for other Ubuntu members that are traveling. But again, that's still in the works. I don't know how long that's going to be, within the next month or so. We're hoping. So.
Okay, awesome. Still sounds cool.
Yeah.
And then before we move on to One Small Town, just our meetings. We would like to switch up our meetings to kind of follow the USA style, which is like their meetings are open to everyone, and it's more of an update of what's happening with us here in Canada. And I think Duncan and I were talking about it, and I'm not sure if you guys agree, but I think the more people that we can get involved and show what we're doing, the more people will kind of support and maybe get more involved themselves. So, and we want everyone in Canada to know we're here and what we're doing. So, and then we're thinking of posting our meeting videos on YouTube so that you can share them with friends, family, anyone who's interested, as well as the website, just to give people more ways to see what we're doing and get in contact with us. The only issue right now is that, we're using my Zoom account right now, and the subscription that I'm on, it only allows for 50 people to attend. And then, so funding is kind of our current roadblock right now. So on Zoom, the cost kind of increases per month based on how many people you want to attend. And so, somebody just wrote a message from someone who has 1,900 members ready to go. That's super exciting, and we definitely need to talk to you, Donnie, because that's pretty awesome. I have no idea how you did that, but good job.
Yeah, sure.
That's fabulous. And then Darnell said that, yeah, Vimo, actually, yeah, we could, who's ever in charge of doing kind of the technical side, we can post them, in as many places as we think people would see them. So that's a great idea as well. So this kind of enters a new position that we would like to fill, which is a fundraising manager, because there are funds each month that we will need to pay for in order to kind of get the message out and do what we're doing here. So just a little food for thought. And then now I think we're ready to go to One Small Town, and Duncan, you're ready to take it away?
Yeah. Okay. All right, so 3 areas we're going to look at: the One Small Town initiatives. In Brazil in December was Michael's first trip there, and it actually, I think it spawned from his trip in Vermont in the end of September, where a fella had traveled all the way from Brazil just to meet him and explain to him that there are towns that are definitely open to look at this philosophy. And this fella ended up setting up meetings for Michael with mayors down there, and it was very, very successful. So the One Small Town that wants to adopt this philosophy right away is Rio Acimo. So that is underway. So what's happening there is they're taking count of all the resources and energy and companies that they can restart, that, old factories that they can restart, fix machinery and get making things again in that town. They're looking at the education side of it to see if they can adopt the One Small schools there. There are also 3 other areas. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here. Hang on. Alternate school in the rainforests. And there was a secretary of the mayor of Salvador that was at one of Michael's presentations, and she took everything she learned back to the mayor of Salvador, which is the fourth largest city in Brazil, and he said, hey, I know of some islands off the mainland where they could definitely promote this one small school alternative. And Michael got to meet a shaman who's actually also looking at 3 other small towns to implement. So it's just really taking off there. So we're going to learn a lot as they move ahead with the implementation. But right now, I'd say they're just taking stock. If any of you are familiar with Zeitgeist or the Venus Project, one of the things that is very similar to that when they talk about the resource-based economy, where basically you take stock of all your resources and all your electricity, food, people, demographics, everything, infrastructure, and then you say, okay, well, the plan is that we need to bump up this sector here and that sector there, and then it sort of starts to blossom. So that's the stage they're at now. They're just taking stock of everything, so they know when people are going to volunteer their hours, where they need to volunteer. So super exciting things going on in Brazil. And in the USA, I had a lengthy conversation today with the author of the One Small Town USA. It was Michael Tellinger and Brandon Shelton who put together the plan there. And what they're doing right now is they have a new website right now. It just launched, I believe, Saturday. And it's a fundraising campaign. It's going to go on for 8 weeks. The fundraising goal is $25,000. And what that money is going to is working on business plans and blueprints to be used globally. Although this is done through Ubuntu USA, that just happens to be where Brandon lives, but he's doing this for the global Ubuntu movement. So we can all use these documents. They'll be, generic by nature, but, they can be adapted for whatever the legal and regulatory framework is in whatever geographic area you want, but it'll be a good foundation to work from. So I would strongly suggest that if you can donate using that link, http canada.onesmalltown.org, because that will keep track of the interest for the One Small Town initiative in Canada, because we will eventually be using these tools as well. So it's money well spent. And certainly you can either contact me, because I had a long conversation with Brandon, or you can contact Brandon directly if you like to learn more. And One Small Town in Canada, certainly looking for a project manager needed there, and I can certainly fill them in if they're interested. And I'd like to thank everybody that took part in, we rewrote the One Small Town, used to be called the Manifesto. I took a stab at it and then put it out to everybody else, and I think we ended up with an absolutely fantastic document. So we're going to run that by Brandon and Michael before we publish it, but I'd like to thank you all for your efforts, because I think it looks great. Potential towns, if anybody has any ideas, certainly I've heard interest for places in 2 or 3 areas in Nova Scotia. They're all within, all the southeast side where the climate is fairly moderate, although most of us would think not, who haven't been to Eastern Canada, always hear about the terrible snowstorms and the nasty winters they have. That particular area is more moderate in climate. And I think another reason, from people that grew up there, they all say the same thing, that sharing and helping each other out is just comes natural to the people out there, because they got to live through those crazy winters, and they live through lots of employment challenges and economic challenges. And because of that, they are a really cohesive team, and it just seems to be a real fertile ground. It's just a thought. If anyone else has any other ideas or wants to approach anybody that knows a mayor or to approach a mayor with the One Small Town initiative, just send them to that website, onesmalltown.org. And then if they're interested, they can contact us.
Sorry, I'm slacking on my...
Okay, no problem. So the Canadian video presentation, I don't know if any of you have seen the presentation. It was put together by Drea in the UK, and the other fellow was in the United States that did the actual video production. It is absolutely amazing. It's about 6.5 minutes long, and it covers all the main points. The only issue is we got to Canadianize it, because the beginning and the end show a map of the USA and have the Ubuntu USA logo, but I'm sure we can tackle that. Now, fundraising initiative with the USA, we discussed that previously. So anything that goes towards that, it's called an Indiegogo. I guess that's one of the crowdsourcing and fundraising initiatives that go through the internet. Like I said before, it looks like it's going to Ubuntu USA, but it's actually going to money to create the tools that we'll use to create One Small Town here in Canada. Now, this business plan that they're working on, again, it's a collaboration to be sent out to any of the other Ubuntu teams in Germany or Australia or India or New Zealand or wherever they may be. So definitely a fantastic initiative.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, if we do find somebody who's interested in kind of the One Small Town project manager position, you can work with like Brandon and the other global team members to make this happen. Because I think the plan is that we're all going to band together, all countries, all people, to make this kind of initial blueprint happen, and then we can start kind of implementing it into small towns in any country. Did I get that right, Duncan?
Yeah. The one other thing, I don't want to get into too much detail now because we'll leave it for, I don't want to take wind out of Brandon's sails, but basically we're going to be setting up two companies here. One, a non-for-profit, which will be Ubuntu Planet Canada, and one for profit, which I'll leave the name just out for now. And that will be to basically support the One Small Town initiatives when they come to fruition, because they're going to need a lot of money. And that's the part where Michael says, we need to use the tools that have enslaved us. I don't know if that's a word or not. The tools that have put us into slavery, in other words, money, to get this whole mindset and philosophy, get those dominoes falling one after the other as towns take on this new way of living. So there is that other side. So we will have fundraising plans for Ubuntu Planet Canada, and that's just going to be based on education and spreading awareness. And then there will be the One Small Town initiatives that initially will go through the Indiegogo website right now, and then we'll see as things evolve how that spans out.
Okay, so local news, also exciting. Oh, hold on. There we go. I'm just going to open the whole thing up because I feel like I'm slacking with like when you're talking. Okay, there we go.
Okay, you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So one of our members, David Craig, he lives in Perth, Ontario, and I sent out an email last week. So those of you who read it are probably aware. For those of you who are new, this is probably a little bit different. So David Craig's, he's a business owner, and he builds earthship buildings, and I've kind of seen pictures of them. They look really cool, and from what I hear, he's the only person who does this design here in Ontario. And it's all about making homes that require the least amount of energy and using kind of more energy efficient ways, and solar and that sort of thing. So it's pretty neat. And he has a meeting tomorrow with the mayor to talk about kind of his business ideas. He's been working on this, from what I understand, for like 5 years. So he's really invested in making a difference in his community. And he's also going to be sharing Ubuntu's One Small Town strategy and the philosophy of contributionism. And I could be wrong, but I believe he's going to be presenting USA's One Small Town video, because it was done really, really well. And to see if they're interested in moving forward. So we just wanted to give his contact information out to everyone. If you live in that area, or if you're interested in kind of helping out on a more local community base, I'm sure David would be more than happy to give you information and have you on board. So if that's something that resonates with you, if that's something that's exciting for you, please reach out to him and let him know that you're interested. So, and good luck tomorrow, David. I hope that everything goes well. Very exciting news. Okay, so what are we on now? David, did you want to say anything before we move on? I know that in my email you said that you were okay, but did you?
No, not yet. I'll wait till next meeting, so I
Okay.
have real information to talk about.
Perfect, awesome. Well, hopefully some people will get in contact with you.
I'm sure, thank you.
No problem. Okay, so next. Okay, so now we're gonna go through kind of you and Ubuntu, this section, just different ways that we can all kind of contribute based on your kind of time and how you want to participate. So for this section, we're just going to go over kind of supporters. So this is something that anyone can do. If you bump into people who are interested in Ubuntu and they don't know how to participate, these are just some ideas. Those of you who haven't gone to ubuntuplanet.org, the connector, I think it was Donnie who would mention it in the chat. It's a place where you can kind of sign up, and it'll show you all the different people who are part of Ubuntu across the world. So that's a great place to start. You might be able to find that there's a handful of people or a dozen people in your area that maybe you could get together with and start working together and spreading the news. So that's a great way to get started. Also spreading the message when given the opportunity. I find that there's a lot of things that lead into the idea of Ubuntu, so I usually find a way to bring it up often in my day-to-day life. You could start an Ubuntu meetup group or local circle. Meetup.com is a pretty cool website. If you guys are not familiar with it, it's a place where you can, yes, this meeting is being recorded, yes. And so, yeah, so I'll just type in this, meetup.com. So this is a website where you can kind of set up your own meeting, invite people over, and even if you just sit around and talk about Ubuntu, I feel like the more we're together in person and our energy is resonating, that we can kind of put some more consciousness out into the universe, which is helpful. And came across some kind of what they call approved marketing material on the Ubuntu Planet USA website. So if you click on this link here, and I'm not sure if these links work in this particular Zoom, but I'll send everyone the slides, so you'll be able to click on it from the slides. And they have like PowerPoint presentations, videos, marketing material like pamphlets and handouts and stuff. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. But it would be nice if somebody wanted to take on the initiative of looking at all of those materials and maybe seeing if they need to be revised to be more Canadianized. So this is kind of where our marketing and promotions manager would come into play. And then also you can connect your skills and passions by volunteering for Ubuntu. And we kind of put together, it's not the prettiest thing, I just kind of put it together a temporary website that we can send people. And it's really just showing people how they can support Ubuntu, how they can volunteer. And it's also going to list all of the management positions and kind of a job description so that you can see which area you're most interested in, if that's something that you want to do. And then these are just some kind of coming soon. So I got these from the Ubuntu USA meeting. They had some good ideas. We don't have all of them happening right now, but the button for Ubuntu the tribute will be on our new website, so you can sign up for the newsletter, have monthly updates, share it with friends to get the word out. We'll have a Facebook up and running soon. So if I'm going to reach out to Shabnam and see, like, maybe Duncan and I can talk with you this week to see if that's something that you're interested in maybe overseeing. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I mean, we'll talk to you and you let me know like what feels good for you, but you've done an excellent job so far. So we'll definitely be reaching out to you. Hopefully in the future, we'll have some book distributors once it's here in Canada, but in the meantime, you can purchase them in the States and probably still make some money. So if you get the books for $12.50 and sell them for $25, then the money that you make is yours. So that's profit. So, I mean, it's a little bit of an initiative to say thank you, and you're also spreading the word. So that's kind of cool. And then also the intention, use the energy of intention through a monthly donation. So once we have our non-for-profit set up, we'll likely, and have a fundraising manager, hopefully that person can put something together where people can do like a monthly donation of $1, which, you know, doesn't seem like a lot, but if enough people pitch in $1, then that can help us, you know, with one of our education, or maybe for a music and arts festival, or for a conference, all those sort of things that we want to spread awareness and education through. Duncan, did you want to talk about volunteering?
Sure. So if you want to contribute your skills and talents to any Ubuntu project, for instance, there's things you can do like we'd mentioned adapting the video, Michael's One Small Town video for use in Canada. Take some of the marketing materials. Again, I took a look at what was there. It's great for a starter, but we certainly can spruce it up a bit and Canadianize it for sure. So that just brought to mind one other thing is if anyone has any design ideas for a Ubuntu Canada, Ubuntu Planet Canada logo, that would be great, because there's a lot of places where that needs to be. So if you have any ideas on that front, we'd be interested. Some other ideas we could look at, and actually this is one that Carmen talked to Michael Tellinger about, was to create a workshop. So anybody that would have a subscription to Gaia or access to the season 2 of Hidden Origins, just a thought of doing it in some place, in somebody's house or in the library or something like that, where you could get a group of people together and just maybe watch a couple of, because there's 8 of them in the second season, but they're all about Ubuntu and basically covers everything. And there's question and answers within those episodes that probably will spawn more questions from the audience. But I think that's a great way to spread awareness. And certainly help with the One Small Town business plan as it evolves. And always looking for articles for Ubuntu Tribute, which was a great idea by Carmen. And hopefully some of the other, sounds like some of the other Ubuntu teams around the world may adopt something similar. That would be just fantastic. And some other things we could look at, research homeschooling and alternative schooling. Is what we, certainly part of spreading awareness and education is helping or sitting down and helping design with education professionals curriculum that really focuses on I don't know what the term is because I'm not an educator, but focuses on really learning skills for today's world, on the ground skills like growing food and taking care of your family and taking care of elders and building houses and making structures and things like that we could help incorporate into, like, for the younger kids, the Waldorf system, or there's a lot of people homeschooling. So I know a lot of people really swear by that because they know they're in control, but then again, the social aspect isn't there. So I think a meeting of those two somewhere down the road would be something to work towards. So there's all kinds of great ideas. But if you're interested, you can apply at our temporary website listed there. And I think we have a volunteer manager now.
yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes,
that's okay. And what's,
whoops, sorry, I went backwards.
yeah, that's okay.
Are we good to?
Yeah, I think our new volunteer manager is Elizabeth Spence, by the way. So she's done many volunteer managing things in the past, and she's certainly excited about taking this on. And as with all of us, we all need lots of help. So hopefully she'll be in touch with you, and you can help her out too.
Yes, super excited. Elizabeth, I don't want to put you on the spot, but did you want to jump on and say anything? It's okay if you don't, but I wanted to give you the opportunity. Could be a weird microphone thing too.
Mm.
Okay, no, that's okay. And super happy for the help, because Duncan and I have been getting a lot of emails about volunteers, and to have someone dedicated to talking to these people and finding out the best place for them to help is amazing, and super excited about that. Okay, so now this is going to be our big list of what we are looking to restructure. So on that website, there is kind of job descriptions, what it entails, an idea of how much time it would kind of take, and what kind of skills would be beneficial for that type of position. So we're basing it a lot on Ubuntu USA's kind of structure right now. Duncan and I found that from November until January that they have just kind of exploded exponentially, and it seems to be because they have specific people doing, like, kind of overseeing specific jobs rather than just having one or two people kind of overseeing everything. So we'd really like to give that implementation a try, and I think that it's going to be really awesome, and I'm really excited to have everyone's ideas kind of working collectively at the same time. Oh, thanks, Sujiwa. I'm not a website designer. I just did it using like a drag and drop a Weebly, but at least it's something for people to go to for now. So one thing, so these are kind of the people we're looking for. Duncan and I kind of were looking at different job descriptions of what we want to do and kind of what's needed. And we're going to have kind of Michael Tellinger will be at the top as the executive director. And then we're going to have three kind of assistant directors that are overseeing Canada. And that will be the director of business development, which will be myself, director of operations, which is Duncan. And then we're also going to be looking for a director of public relations. We think it'd be nice to have, like, for me, kind of my specialty is in coordination, creating plans and systems and working on how do you implement that. Duncan is really great at kind of operating, like how do you take those ideas and how do you manifest them into reality and make sure that all the parts are working the way they're supposed to. But we'd also like to have a third person who's going to be our public relations. So the person who's going to take all this information and show it to the world in kind of the best light. So if that's something that you are really excited about, talking to people, anything to do with promotions or public speaking, all that sort of stuff, then we definitely want to hear from you. And then we have some management positions, somebody to oversee the website. We've talked about our One Small Town project manager and accounting manager. We definitely need someone who knows finances and who can kind of help manage the books and how.
And actually, one point there, I know from my previous experience in nonprofits, we have to have a certified accountant on the board, or we can't be a nonprofit organization. So we have to get that fairly quickly.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for adding that, Duncan. I'm going to make a note of that and maybe add that to the job description to be a certified accountant, because they have to be certified here in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll make that update. Fundraising manager. It'd be awesome if we can have someone who's excited about raising funds. Legal advisor, super important. People, anyone you know that has like law experience, that would be able to help us go through the different regulations and rules here in Canada. Something that I'm not familiar with. I'm not sure about Duncan, but I definitely cannot take that role on. So it's not my forte. An events manager, so somebody who really likes to put events together for awareness and education. And the sky's the limit here. I mean, if you love party planning or event planning, like this might be something that you're really interested in. A marketing and promotions manager, social media manager we touched on, volunteer manager. Oh, so I did, sorry, I added it somewhere. Just on this page. Elizabeth Spence has stepped in. So thank you so much. I'm really excited about that. And then these are kind of ambassadors. So these are what Michael has been talking about as goals. And I think it would be great to have people kind of on those particular goals. So an educator ambassador, somebody who wants to be working on that one small school. Music and arts ambassador, somebody who wants to take on putting together festivals and really supporting local artists across Canada. Youth ambassador, if you like kids, if you like teaching, if you like doing book clubs. I mean, again, there's so many options, and we just need all your brains to like help put together some cool stuff. Science and technology ambassador, if you're interested in putting together conferences to bring all of our inventors together and really explaining to them that, you know, there is no limit with us. If they're able to create something that's going to help us with our mission, then we're going to support them in making that happen. Healthcare ambassador, I think, you know, we all want to look at changing our current healthcare system, or at least I do. Somebody who's interested in like alternative healing or holistic health, really taking natural healing, all that sort of stuff, which is out of our healthcare system for the most part here. I think would be great to kind of integrate both together. Political ambassador, again, not something that I am familiar with at all. So having somebody on the team who can maybe start to put together a political platform for us for coming elections would be great. A traditional leader, somebody who wants to work with the different kind of native communities in and around Canada. I know close to Hamilton in Caledonia, we have a pretty prominent Aboriginal community, and you know, if there's somebody around who maybe wants to reach out to them, maybe there are one small town, who knows. And also I think it's very important to have a French Canadian ambassador. I know that Chantal had mentioned translating into French on our behalf, but she's super busy. And Donnie, you're right, she is a doctor. She's a naturopathic doctor, super busy. So she wants to do it, but I don't think she has the time. So if there's anybody else who maybe wants to help facilitate for the French community, because we're in Canada, we really want to make sure that our initiative is inclusive to everyone here in Canada, and especially those French-speaking Canadians are super, super important, and we don't want them to feel left out because everything we do is in English. So if you speak both languages, please contact us. We would love to have your help. So there's the website again. You can go and read the job descriptions and the time and skill requirements, and let us know if you're interested. Did you want to make any more notes about kind of these positions, Duncan, before I move on to the next slide?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. So I think we might be on question and answer. Yeah, Q&A. Who wants to ask some questions or share some insights, or you know, a bit of a free for all right now. We would just want to hear from you. We've been talking a lot. Oh, good. We have people kind of typing, would like to try out the traditional leader ambassador. Yeah, definitely send us an email, and we will, Duncan and I will make the time, you know, to find a time and day that works for the three of us to talk on Skype to get this along, because I think it's exciting. I'm excited. I don't know if everyone else is, but I'm very excited. Oh, thanks.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Oh, that's very sweet. Sometimes we feel like we're swimming against a current, so it's nice to know that at least we make sense every so often. Intro. I've been all. Well, yeah, like I think Cindy asked a good question. So will the teams that have been formed already still be existing? I think to a certain extent, yes. I think right now, what we're gonna want to figure out is who's on the team right now wants to move into like one of those management roles and kind of oversee that area, and which people maybe don't have the time to dedicate to a management role, because it is quite time expensive. Like there's a lot involved to manage something on a national level, but you may just want to volunteer, and in which case you might still be working together, but just on a different level with one person kind of overseeing what's happening. Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect. Ooh, get together. I want to go to a get together. I happen to live close to you, so I think I can go. So if everyone can just maybe have a look. Elizabeth has invited people over for a meeting.
Toronto, we're in Oakville, so.
They're in Oakville. So if maybe you want to respond to her, if that's something you are interested in meeting. If obviously if you're on the east or west coast, it might not be feasible for you to fly in, but those of you in Southern Ontario might want to participate. So Marilyn asked a question, let me just see here. What would be involved in ambassador? I've been 45 years in alternative health and wellness, practiced all natural healing, no vaccines for my family, no drugs. I have no formal training, so perhaps I could help the ambassador. Honestly, have a look at the website, see what it entails, and I think that everyone can participate on some level. And I mean, if that's something you're passionate about and something you're interested in and something you want to start working on, and maybe other people join you, and maybe there isn't somebody who has the time to do it on their own, but maybe you pair up with another person who's already on the management team and the two of you want to manage or be an ambassador together. We're pretty open. I mean, we just want, you guys have been so patient and you've been waiting for something to do, and we really just want to give you guys an opportunity to share all those fabulous ideas. And I think this is probably the best way, if we have people and just see what you guys come up with.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So and we'll speak to each one of you individually, so we can answer your specific questions at that time if you feel maybe uncomfortable. But I mean, Duncan and I will help everyone in any of these positions. Like you're not going to send you off on your own to do it by yourself. It's still collective. It's just more everyone will have their own kind of smaller task to work on instead of us all working on all the projects all the time. I think we'll be able to make some significant changes and work through the tasks if we kind of each do our own specific items. Sorry, that was.
I'm just beside myself here reading Sujiwa's chat. What a wonderful thing. I can't get over the passion that these people that we've put together have. It's just phenomenal.
You guys are amazing.
The things that come out of everyone's mind is just, I've never been a part of such a great group of people. This is amazing. Just the things that.
I agree. You guys are
Speechless.
so awesome.
Wow. That's amazing.
So fast.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see, once people are working on things, where we go from there. Because we can't even handle all of the ideas that are coming through. Like it's super awesome, and I can't believe, Sujiwa, that you wrote a short story. That's amazing. You guys are awesome. So fun. Oh, and he talked about Earthships. Yes, fabulous.
Hey, Donnie, attaboy. Anyway.
Oh, no, there we go. See?
Well, okay, all right. Enough. Oh, my God. Anyway.
So where do we, okay. So, oh yeah, we wanted to talk about our next meeting.
Yeah. Now, Carmen went to great lengths to lay out the meeting calendar for the rest of the year. And what we found out was that this next meeting conflicts with the Ubuntu USA meeting, which is also, I believe it's at 7:30 though. We'd have to check, but because we're looking at, if we move 1 week ahead, then we're into the Ontario long weekend for Family Day, and we really don't want to encroach on family time, certainly if we can avoid that. I'm sure a lot of you would also like to listen in, because it's really interesting to listen to the Ubuntu USA people and what they're accomplishing and planning. So I guess the first thought is, could we still do it on the 12th, but maybe earlier, like maybe around 5 p.m.? I know that's 2 p.m. Out west. I'm just wondering if that's something that would work for people.
This is Dennis on Vancouver Island. No, that won't work. That's way too early.
Okay. So what would be the earliest for you?
7 p.m. my time would be great, but then you guys are all in bed.
Yeah.
Our country's just too wide.
Yeah, it's a big place.
Yeah, so
Maybe we could look at dividing the meeting up in two. Manitoba West and Ontario East.
Well,
but first of all, like Cindy asked if 8:30 Eastern time would that be, because we're kind of aiming just to make the meetings an hour now, like today, like we're kind of winding up here. So if we started at 8:30, then we would really just be watching USA meeting, and then we'd be joining ours. Would probably be ending around 9:30 Eastern time. Is that something that people would be okay with? Okay, we seem to have lots of yeses. I'm just waiting for any no's or any concerns by people. Fine for me. Okay. I feel like, I mean, at least for me, I think I'd rather have the day to do what I need to do. And I'm generally not doing anything at 8:30 on a Sunday anyways. It seems to be everyone else is in the same boat. So we can all just kind of hang out a little bit later. Okay. Okay. So then we will do 8:30 on the 12th. And then we can send you guys information about like signing up so that you guys can watch the USA meetings as well if you're interested.
okay, great.
And then what do I have? Oh, so we don't have any, I just put up some quick links, and again, you'll get them in the slides. But while, we don't have an official website yet, and we don't have, a official Facebook group yet, there are a couple things that you can go to, or you can share with friends or people who are interested in. So there's the Ubuntu Members Worldwide Facebook group. So this is all around the world, great place to go. Michael usually posts a bunch of stuff in there. So check that out, join. The One Small Town USA video channel. So this is new, but those are where those new presentations about One Small Town, and as Duncan mentioned, they're really well done. So if you haven't had a chance to listen to them, I think one's 6 minutes and one's 9 minutes, but I was just so impressed with how well they did it. So eloquent. And then also Michael Tillinger's video channel for pretty much everything he's done for God knows how long. So check those out. And Ubuntu Party website. I'm not sure which one is that, Darnell?
That's the main South African one.
Oh yeah, yeah. You can go to ubuntuparty.org, which is the global website as well, for sure. That's the best place to go for information. And you can also check out USA's website as well, because they have a lot of information just about Ubuntu contributionism, like just what it is and how it works. So if people are completely new to the idea, that's a great place to send people while we wait for our website to be ready.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we did really good. It's only 8:07.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Cindy. You guys are so sweet. I'm just so excited about everyone. Everyone is just so awesome. So I just don't even, I'm going to cry. So let's not do that. So let's move on. Okay. Does anybody else have anything that they want to say, or any questions before we end?
Yes, if I may, this is Dennis in Chemainus, Vancouver Island.
Hi, Dennis.
I made a lot of comments. Hi. I made a lot of comments on the one small town on the draft copy, but I got very little feedback. Was I wasting my time, or?
No, I think so. You were talking about the village versus the town, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Apologies for not getting back to you, because I noticed you had there was some emails back and forth from, I can't remember who it was, but let's stick with town, let's do this, and then we got into definitions and so on. And just to cut a long story short, we appreciate any feedback, but the reason that we chose to stick with the town is more for the universality of it. The one small town, or the acronym OST, which all the other Ubuntu groups seem to be using. So that's why we kept it. I guess there is some, depending how you look at it, maybe village would work in some instances, but we just chose to stick with town because that's basically the strategy. It's being rolled out as OST, one small town. So that's why we did that. My apologies for not getting back to you on that.
Okay, one question.
Sure.
I made a comment about using a philanthropist rather than an investor, because we want to set up a world without money.
Yeah, I'll talk on that. So one thing when I was speaking to Michael Tillinger on the phone is he really wants everyone to think less of talking about a world without money and more looking at it as using money to create a world that is so prosperous and abundant for everyone that we don't need money anymore. Because we are going to need money to get started. And so when the general public reads things that we provide to them, we want to make sure that they understand it and it resonates with them. And for a lot of people, town would register and resonate easier for them than village, because most people, if you're talking to them, even though the definition you gave is correct, what people resonate with is more of a word like town. And same with a philanthropist versus an investor. We don't want people to be reading through something and then having to go into like Googling what a philanthropist is. And I think you might have been actually somebody who mentioned that it should be written at like a grade 8 level. Is that correct?
Grade 9 level.
Grade 9 level, right. And so I think
that's what newspapers are written at, so it just makes sense to continue with that.
Exactly, and I agree with you. And I think that when you throw in a word like philanthropist versus investor, there are a lot of people.
But there's two different worlds. They're no way alike.
But we do need investors. That's another thing, is that we actually need people to invest their money. And have you had a chance to review the video that Michael Tillinger and Brandon published about the
Yep, I did some videos, and yep.
Yeah, so the new one uses the word investor, and it uses it as a way of like, if you were to invest your time and money into a project, then they get 1/3 of the profits, and that is a business avenue for people to join. And
yes, but are we setting up another system just to be trapped in the same old system of an investor wanting a return on his money he put to work for him while he does nothing? Because that's what an investor is.
No, this is part of the transition plan, that you have to invest in these infrastructure projects, which then end up becoming standalone businesses, and because of the free labor will outperform any existing businesses that will basically just over time wilt away. So that's
right now businesses are using unpaid apprenticeships, which get the people in the apprenticeship nowhere.
That's right. So the whole point
Why
is,
are we repeating the same mistake?
No, not at all. And speaking with Brandon today, and as this evolves, we can certainly provide a lot more detail on. He's put a lot of safeguards in place to make sure that investments go towards a business that will adopt the Ubuntu contributionism way of doing business, so that everyone that gives their labor time to the business, gets the material for free, and also if they live in the area, they'll be able to get a lot of other things for free. So it's not like a slave-driven scenario whatsoever. Everybody wins, but we need the huge dollars to launch it. So that's why the word investor's in there, but it's certainly not going back to the way we were. That's the thing furthest from anybody's mind, because we know things are just so broken, and this is definitely the way out. So there are a lot of fail safes and policing done. I mean, it's they put I guess there's flow charts or whatever to single out entrepreneurs or investors that aren't following the Ubuntu philosophy, because everybody starts to lose if one of those people gets into the system. So they have ways to isolate those people and get them out of the system. So
I guess then we just need more full disclosure so that everyone understands.
Yeah. Well, I guess, it's like a fine line at this stage as we introduce things, because you don't want to scare people.
You don't want to attract the wrong ones either.
Yeah, that's
Works
true.
both ways.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
I was just going to say, and this is an evolving process. So, I mean, Dennis, the word may very well change down the road. For right now, though, what Duncan and I are really, and when we speak to Michael and we speak to the team of USA and Michael's correspondence with other countries like Australia and UK and Ireland that are coming on board, what we really want to demonstrate is that we are globally connected, that this isn't a movement just here in Canada, and it isn't a movement here in USA, that we want this type of world for everyone, and to slowly remove those borders. And the closer that our message and our documents are aligned together, people will start to see that this isn't a Canadian thing and it isn't a USA thing, it's a people thing. And so I think for us, Duncan and I want to make sure that we are aligned, and we are happy to share your suggestions when we speak to the team. Like when I'm sure when Duncan speaks to Brandon, he can mention that you prefer a word like philanthropist, and throw it past Brandon and see what he says. But there's a lot of people who've been working on this for much longer than Duncan and I, and so we're taking their advice as much as we can, because they've been doing this for a while. I hope that maybe helps to make better.
Sorry, this is it's finally Donnie talking here. Hi. Yeah, if you actually read in my little presentation there for say the podcast, I actually do like a little bit of a breakdown,
yeah,
which would actually speak to kind of what we're kind of would be doing to actually transition out from using money for our own self-interest, rather put it back into our community, into the point where we don't need it anymore. So I think that's what is the general main objective of using money, is just to not use it eventually.
Yeah.
But unless we all decide as 7.4 billion people on this planet to put it down, probably ain't going to happen overnight. So it's a work in progress.
Yes, very well said. Exactly. It's not something that it's just going to happen over. I mean, it could. I think anything's possible. It's unlikely. It's possible, but anything's possible. But I think we really need, like Duncan was saying, we don't want to scare people off. And sometimes the way we say things can put people off. And that was another thing when I spoke to Michael. He mentioned that over the last 2 years, he's become very aware of the words that he uses and how important they are to convey his message. And that one word can completely change the way somebody reacts to your statement, whether the way you said it was correct or not. It's the interpretation that matters as well, right? We want to make sure that people are understanding where we're coming from, and that we're not, trying to take away all their money and all their stuff and change the world as they know it. Because people could very easily take it that way. And so I think we need to be careful about how we're phrasing things. in a world that makes sense to them as well. Does anyone else have some lovely insight or thoughts on something new, or maybe in response to Dennis's questions? It's like open mic season right now. No? Okay. Oh, somebody maybe. No, that was just me. Okay. Well then, if nobody else has any more questions, I think we'll say good night, and please go to our kind of temp website and send us an email if you're interested in one of the positions. And in the next 2 weeks, yes, I will be emailing everyone the recording, and Johnny has been nice enough to fix up the videos because I don't know how to do that. So hopefully he can make sure that there isn't anything weird about it, and then I'll send it to everyone, and hopefully we can put it on YouTube as well. And then you can send it out to people you know. Maybe.
Yeah, and I will just answer Darnell's chat there. We certainly, will be very careful about who we get to. If anyone expresses any interest in distributing the books, that they have at least read the book and realize the respect it commands, and make sure that they go ahead with that same kind of mindset. So no worries.
Yeah. Also, one thing that I think US is doing, which would be cool, is I think that they're asking, I think they're working on state coordinators, which I think would be cool if down the road we had provincial coordinators. So someone kind of overseeing each province. And those coordinators are the ones responsible for the book distributors. So that might be something that we can think of too down the road. Mm-hmm. Only those people who are actually involved in Ubuntu Canada would be selling those books. So something to think about, and thank you for bringing that up. It's a great point. All right. Well, thank you so much for spending your Sunday evening with us. You guys are amazing and awesome, and we're so excited to hear all your ideas. I will let Duncan say his goodbye, and then I will shut us down.
Okay. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this, and looking forward to great things for the new year. Hope you all have a great month.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.